no, but in all seriousness,
It's all you.
Okay.
I'm done.
So, as far as Lamar silencing his playoff doubter.
Yeah.
I do think, while Brew disagrees with me, that his inability to play well against Pittsburgh in the regular season was part of this bigger theme that I believe in.
Sure.
Which means this is his second consecutive really positive step. Because I am like, you understand what I mean?
First game against the Steelers?
Yeah, like this is 2 games in a row that were part of that sample that I had been talking about.
Yep.
Playing the Chiefs, playing the Steelers, playing the playoffs. And now we don't have to go back to last postseason. It's the last game against Pittsburgh when he said monkey off my back, and then it's this playoff game.
Yep.
So that's super positive legitimately. Also, I think, and you might agree with me on this was the first playoff game of his career where he looked like regular season Lamar from the opening drive. Because that game against Houston, it actually was pretty shaky that first half, and then he was spectacular that entire second half, which made it a great game. But the first, so that's really positive. The fact that to me, everyone's going to focus on, rightfully so, the drive with 13 straight runs and Derrick Henry's great game, all of it. And that's all legit. But on the opening drive, they had a 3rd and 13 where they asked Lamar relied on Lamar, and this set the template for the entire game because he didn't miss the throw, he wasn't antsy there, and then the next drive it was just Lamar running and Derrick Henry running, and then essentially the game was over. So I am not going to minimize any of that.
But
to answer the question, does this now make you be like, okay, he's over it? No. And this is where I think Brew actually will agree with me. Because Brew agrees that it is not in conflict to say a guy is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever and a guy consistently doesn't play his best football come the postseason. Because the example we have used is Peyton Manning. And that Peyton Manning's probably one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever. He now is one of only a couple guys with more MVPs than Lamar, assuming Lamar is going to win this one because he got the All-Pro. And Peyton had the early struggles, the mid struggles, and the late struggles. So we showed you Lamar versus Peyton through 6 playoff games. We can update it now through 7, and then we can show you their 7th playoff game. So through 7, it's again similar across the board, like the yards go to Lamar, the points go to Peyton, whatever it is. The 7th playoff game, though, I think is interesting. Because the 7th playoff game, Peyton Manning, as great as Lamar was just as good his own way. And then in the 8th playoff game, it was a 20-3 regular old Peyton Manning playoff loss.
Oh, so you're saying that's what...
This is just so dumb. I'm sorry. Guys, this is what Nick said going into this game.
You also know that Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, not great. How many points do you think Baltimore's scoring this week? I would be shocked if they cracked 24. So to cover, can Pittsburgh get to 16? I think so.
Maybe.
Pittsburgh plus 9.5. Next.
Yeah. All right. We know that Lamar Jackson's not good in the playoffs. We know he's not good versus the Steelers. I'd be shocked if they cracked 24, which they could have cracked 35, but they obviously didn't even want to, or at the minimum 31. And now we're going to start to play these games of like, let's compare it to Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning wasn't really good in the playoffs, but like, hey, on his 7th game, he actually was able to kind of play good. Like, we're constantly cooking the books here. Constantly. And it's just insanity. It really is. It's absurd. It's so ridiculous. You said he didn't play good against the Steelers, that he couldn't handle them. He did. You said he couldn't play good in the playoffs. He did. You said he couldn't play good against the Steelers in the playoffs. He did. There shouldn't be a yeah, but in this situation. I can give a yeah, but because I've been very honest about Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens. I've earned that right. But when you constantly bash someone, keep saying that they choke, that they can't show up, that you doubt they'll be able to show up, you don't get to do a yeah, but when they prove you wrong. My yeah, but is, yeah, it was the first round against the Steelers. Lamar Jackson will be graded on what he does against the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, what he does in AFC Championship games and Super Bowls, because that's how special, that's how great, that's how elite Lamar Jackson is. and how great the Baltimore Ravens as a team is supposed to be. That's a fair statement to make when you've been, very open and honest and respectful of both the successes and the failures of Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. But when you're one-sided and you've been ripping them, saying, "Oh, look at Lamar Jackson versus the Kansas City Chiefs and the Ravens, or the Kansas City Chiefs and the Steelers, and in the playoffs versus everyone else. Lamar Jackson's amazing when games don't matter, but when games matter, he's scared." You don't get to do that. You don't get to play this yeah but game after this game. You just don't. If you've had a belief and respected Lamar and the Ravens, then you could say, yeah, that was an awesome game. That was exciting. No victory lap here, though, because, again, it was the Steelers. The Steelers were falling apart. They're not that great of a team. First round, home. Let's see what they do now to Buffalo. Right? Like, I think that's a totally fair statement to make. It really is, because, again, when you're talking about as amazing and great Lamar Jackson is, it's what do you do in the next rounds, right? That's what it is for me. But I've also defended Lamar Jackson's, poor performances in previous playoff performances. So I feel like I've built up that equity. I'm allowed to make that statement. You're not allowed to make that statement when you're showing, pictures of James Harden and Aaron Judge and, all these other things and being like, "Oh, he chokes. Ha ha ha. He chokes. He's not good. Ha ha ha. He can't beat the Steelers. He can't handle the moment. He gets scared. He's nervous." You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Because even when he was giving him his flowers, you could still tell it was kind of like, you could just tell it wasn't really there. It wasn't really there.
And going into these playoffs, Brew had, I don't want to say concerns, but a question about what will Lamar look like in the postseason. And I don't think one game in the wild card round answers that.
Yep. There you have it. There you go. And then if Lamar can't beat the Buffalo Bills, who are a great team, they'll just use that as more fuel. I mean, these are both great teams. That's why it ends up being a lose-lose situation for the Ravens or the Bills. If the Bills lose, it's Josh Allen's not good enough. And if the Ravens lose, it's Lamar Jackson not good enough. And if they win, it's okay, they could beat it, but can they beat the Chiefs? Can they win the Super Bowl? It becomes a lose-lose situation for both these quarterbacks. I knew this was the question that was going to be asked. I knew it. I knew it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson? Do you think he silenced his doubters? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.